Hi, I am Aimee, and I am here to talk to you about my favorite thing at Rootstech, and it actually is from last year. Full text searching has changed family history, and even the other big players are adding it, like Ancestry has just added full text searching. But I am so fortunate that I have the opportunity to sit here with David Ouimette. Thank you so much. You're in charge of content strategy, right, at FamilySearch?
That's right.
So if you don't know what full text searching is, which you may not, it's really a wonderful part of family history. It will help you find your ancestors. Maybe you know about full text searching and you love it. And maybe you'll know about it and you've tried it, but it's a little tough. And so today we're going to talk all about it, so you're going to understand it better and you're going to be inspired to give it a try. That's the objective today.
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit more about how FamilySearch kind of got the technology and was able to start full text searching last year.
The whole big deal is getting records and making them accessible. And so indexing is the standard thing we do, but it's not enough. There's so much more in the stories that you can't find by searching by names, dates, and places.
Yeah.
It's also really a lot of resources to index records. And with this new technology, with AI, we can do this much more economically, so we can go through the entire Granite Mountain Records vault and pull out all the material and have it completely indexed instead of one little bit at a time.
So would you explain a little bit better, because that kind of touches the difference between if somebody does a search on Ancestry, what they're actually getting versus when they go into one of the ways that you can full text search, because, and we'll talk more about how to do that in a minute, but I really want to make it clear, because I don't know that everybody understands what you're seeing when you do a search versus a full text search.
When you do a search, you're looking at records that have been indexed by fields, names, dates, and places. A little record like a baptism or a marriage or a burial. You get a record back indexed. But with full text, we have the computer read everything on an entire image. There could be 7 records on an image. A record could span 2 images. We're getting every word on there. So the first regular indexing is just the names, dates, places. The full text, you can search on anything in the whole document and you get images back, not records back.
I love that, and the images are so powerful to see those. And one of the things I've loved about it is, like in a probate record, a lot of times the information that was indexed was just the person who had passed away and maybe 1 or 2 of the people that were inheriting, but maybe not everybody. And now you might find somebody popping up on a probate record, you know, or a will or something like that that had been missed.
That's right. If you look at a probate record, it could be a whole packet of information, 50 pages of details.
Yeah.
And all sorts of people are named, not just the person who passed away. And so you can get the full text, you can see all the words, and you can also click to look at a summary, and you'll see the name of the deceased person, the name of the heirs, and that they're called out as heirs, all these details summarized, so at a glance, you could see a whole lot more about everybody.
One of the other things that I wanted to talk to you about was because last year when FamilySearch announced full text searching and everybody went nuts, and I am not exaggerating that, the only records really for the US were the deeds, which are land records, and then the wills and probate records. And I think there was another record group or so, and then maybe some Spanish, some Mexican records.
Notarial records, yes.
Yeah. But so the record groups, that actually is a lot of records. That was a big, I'm sure, a big deal. But there's so much more now. So maybe if you're kind of like, I'm not quite at the land record place in my research, I kind of don't get it. Don't be afraid to full text, because you can find other things. Tell me more about some of those other record groups you guys have now.
Okay. Well, if you look at what's been indexed so far in regular indexing, maybe 5-6 billion records are indexed. That's an enormous amount of content. But in full text, what's already been accomplished is about 2.5 billion images. That's like
2.5 billion. Oh my
that's
gosh.
more like 8, 10, 12 billion records,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's more to be found on our ancestors in the full text material than in all the indexing ever done. So there's enormous discoveries to be made. And you dig into records you may not have ever looked at before, because now they're easy to get into.
See the image.
You don't have to read the handwriting, you just read the transcript,
Yeah.
and you can learn all about how the person shared their inheritance. You can learn in a notarial record about a marriage contract, and the husband and wife getting married, all of their belongings are listed, and details about their marriage, and all of the other people that signed the document. You get this bigger story emerges, not just the skeleton. It's all fleshed out now when you get the variety of records.
And I want to back you up for just a second, because did you hear about the difference in the numbers of when you're just doing searches and you're pulling that indexed information? What was the difference between the numbers of images in that versus the full text?
Oh,
maybe not exact numbers, but what are we talking
there's
about?
There's definitely more, maybe double the number of records
That's
or
just
indexed.
so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in other words, if you haven't been trying full text, you're missing half of the records that you could possibly be finding right now on FamilySearch. So you can't miss that opportunity. And I have to say too, David taught a wonderful class yesterday here at Rootstech, and you asked in the beginning how many people had participated in full text searching, how many people had done it. And my hands going up like with emphasis because I'm so excited about it. And I'm looking around, and there were a number of hands that went up, but I think at least 2/3 of the audience did not raise their hand. From my perspective, maybe from yours it was different. I was shocked. I was honestly shocked. I thought more people, especially the people that would come to a conference like this, would have given it a try. So, I mean, from your perspective, did that surprise you, or did you kind of already know that people are still kind of a little nervous about doing full text?
I think full text has been emerging slowly, and so it's more of a matter of awareness.
Okay.
And that's why we've added in this new experiment in labs called Simple Search.
Yes.
We want to make it so you can just simply talk to the computer and ask a question, or type in just a few words, and it'll go and do all the heavy lifting to find the images that have the stories of your ancestor.
Yeah, and that is such a great new feature. And FYI, I'm going to do another video that's going to release at the same time as this one, where I am going to take you through and help you step by step get to full text in 4 different ways. And so, because we just can't do that here, I can't show you, and I want to show you. So what are some other things? You talked a lot in your presentation too about how it works. Can you share that with us? Because you understand that far better than I do, about how that technology is working.
Sure. So full text is done in 3 segments. Basically, the first thing we do is take a look at the entire image and identify where there's lines of text.
Okay.
That's not even AI. That's just figuring out where there's lines of text.
Okay.
Then we go in with a visual model, an AI model, that looks for a script, like a Roman script, and it says, here's where the letters appear.
Okay.
Where the words are within those lines of text.
Okay.
It's just visual, the shapes of the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then the next AI model is a language-specific model. It's going to drill into, for the Roman text, maybe it's English, or maybe it's French, or maybe it's German or Swedish. And it's going to pull out linguistically the words, the grammar, the things to understand the meaning of the content. And so finding the lines, looking at the shapes of the letters, and figuring out what those words actually are, that's how the stories emerge.
And then how do you train the AI to do that? Because I know you talked about that as well, and I thought that was really interesting. Can you talk, you had a circle. Can you talk a little bit more about that process of how you guys have done that? I thought that was very interesting.
Sure. The way AI works is you give it some input and you tell it what the output looks like.
Yeah.
And you do that enough times and it finally figures out how to do it. So what we did is we took thousands of images and we manually keyed in everything on them.
Yeah.
And then we said to AI, here's a bunch of images. When we give these to you, give us this text back.
Right.
And after you do that with thousands of manually keyed images, then you start feeding it other images that you've transcribed and you see, does it know how to respond?
Yeah.
And we get maybe 70% of the words come back right. Oh, not good enough. So we train on a whole many more images, put them in. Now it's up to 80%. It gets 90%. We say, you know, this is now good enough to share with everybody else.
That's fantastic. And thank you to all of you that were some of the people that typed all of that information in initially for those of us who have benefited from it. Well, one of the other things that you talked about that comes to mind as you talk about this is the reality is that it's still not perfect. So you are going to see, when you see the transcriptions of some of these images, that it's made some mistakes. But you guys have kind of opened that up so that when we see that, we can kind of help out. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, I'm hearing word on the street that a lot of the younger generation can't read handwriting.
Yes.
And so
yes.
This is a huge leap forward to read the handwriting for you.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, you and I may miss a few words when we read through some old document.
Right.
Some obscure word or the handwriting's really bad. AI has the same challenges because we're training it on the work of humans.
Yes.
So there's going to be mistakes just off of our training data, but it's going to get better and better.
Yeah.
And you know, there's still going to be that undecipherable phrase that somebody puts in a document. It's all smudged or something like that. we still have to dig a little bit deeper to
Yeah.
get that final bit of clarity.
And sometimes when we're looking at the document, we recognize that because of the context of the document, whereas the AI may not still be able to do that. Is that possibly part of that too? Those words that are smudged that maybe we can recognize what they are, but to the AI, those images are just not recognizable. Or is
That's
it
right.
actually making the difference now?
Well, what we can do now is, as people edit the transcript
Yeah.
and correct errors,
Yeah.
we can train the AI with those corrections, and it'll get better and better too, because we're teaching it.
So you're helping out if you're clicking that pencil, and
Absolutely.
I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video too. I got to tell you, that's a really important thing, because I was working professionally for somebody and I was looking at Mexican records, and this was before full text searching was out there, and I don't speak Spanish. And I recognized some words, but there were a lot of things in that text that I couldn't navigate it. And so my son spent a couple of years in Chile, and he speaks Spanish quite well. And so I sent him to them. And I said, can you take care of this for me? Can you translate this for me? And he's like, Mom, I can't read it. So it's true. So for the younger people that are wanting to get into family history, this really is a stumbling block for them. They can't get past some of these old, documents that they can't read, but now with full text they can. I hadn't even really thought about it in those terms. Thanks for sharing that. Well, tell me a little bit more about why you're so passionate about this and what you hope happens with full text searching, and maybe even what you expect to see in the future. I would love to just hear more of your thoughts on this whole subject.
You bet. So before this was released to the public, I got to play with it internally at FamilySearch for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so you know what happens. As I got my day work with FamilySearch, talking to the engineers about what kind of interface works and how to work with this stuff. And then at night, I'm making discoveries, right? So I'm digging in, and I'm so distracted because I keep finding records I never found before,
Yes.
learning these new dimensions about my ancestors I didn't have before. That's the exciting part. You get so addicted to it.
Yeah.
In a really healthy way, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally addictive. I completely agree with you. It's absolutely totally addictive.
So you look at the transcribing. That's starting into the sources.
Yeah.
But there's the analysis. What's the evidence in there
Yeah.
that I can unlock about my ancestors? That's the summary, kind of helping you understand what this document's even talking about.
Yeah.
I was looking at these two deeds on the same image, and the summary said, oh, there's a series of documents here.
Yeah.
It recognized that the transaction is between the same people. It's starting to help me interpret the records. So that's the next stage of development. And there's more and more that can be done.
There's so much coming, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's so exciting. Well, one of the things too that I just hope that you've gotten out of this is that you recognize that whether you're brand spanking new to family history or whether you're a professional genealogist, you got to give it some time and some tries, because you're going to learn about your family, and it's going to teach you many things. One of the things that I've really enjoyed popping up now in full text searching is some of those county biographies that were so popular, because they are, you have to sometimes be a little bit careful about what's written in them. You don't know for sure that it's absolute truth, but there's just so many more records now in full text searching than there used to be. There's something for everybody. So please give it a try. Now, this other video, I am going to take you through step by step how to use full text searching in 4 different ways. There's 4 ways to get to full text searching. This is changing the industry, and you need to know how to do it. So check that one out. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thanks.